Racing to the 2022 Breeders' Cup, and this time we get an update for Friday, October the 14th. We're going to take a look. They'll be mowing the lawn in the turf and the mile. A flat mile on the turf, and then the turf is 1.5 miles. Let's take a look at some of the top contenders in both of these races. Of course, these turf races are going to have a lot of European influence. And the latest news from the Breeders' Cup is that Loggins, trained by Brad Cox, the runner-up in the Keeneland Futurity, he had a 91 Beyer speed figure. He is most likely going to not run in the juvenile. They are going to rest him up. He's already had 2 races and don't want to go to that 3rd race too quickly. Meanwhile, Verifying, the runner-up in the Champagne Stakes, most likely going to run in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile for trainer Brad Cox. And Country Grammar, most likely out of the Breeders' Cup Classic. Still a 9 to 10 horse field shaping up for that Breeders' Cup Classic. Now the mile is going to feature some 3-year-olds and some Euros. Let's take a look at them, starting off with the Todd Pletcher trained Annapolis, a victory at Keeneland the last time out. Beyond Brilliant from the West Coast. Casa Creed, a 3-time Grade 1 winner. Dream Loper. Ivar, another horse that's going to be getting some play. Kinross from Europe. Modern Games, who is going to run in the Champion Stakes this weekend, then going to turn around and come back for the Breeders' Cup in 3 weeks. Pogo, another one shipping in from across the pond. Regal Glory, a filly, taking on the boys, actually a mare. And then Santine, disappointing in his most recent start, bet down at Keeneland. He's going to take another shot at that turf mile. So possibility, I think, 12, 13 horses, maybe even an overfield field for this race. Let's take a look at those contenders. Now, Annapolis, I think a lot of people are going to like his most recent win. He's 1 for 1 at Keeneland, but when you look at the distances he's ran at, he's got 3 1-mile races. He's got a couple of others at 1 1/16. You know, a mile may be his best distance, and Todd Pletcher's got the son of Warfront sitting in good form. What I like about him is that he doesn't need the lead, but he can come just off the pace, and it does seem like he can work out some good trips. He was able to stay inside horses and able to get a good trip in the turf mile at Keeneland, and he did pick up a 101 Brisnet speed figure. Dream Loper, 17 starts, 6 wins, a 5-length Grade 1 winner on September 4th. That was in France. He also picked up a Grade 1 victory in France in May of 2022. He's got some class. He's earned some pretty good dollars, and I think this horse will definitely be one of the top 3-4 favorites. Dream Loper, definitely one to look forward to on the first Saturday in November. Ivar seems to always get bet down, and one of the explanations is he's 1 for 4 at Keeneland, but 2 years ago, I got it highlighted here on October 3rd, he won the Shadwell Turf Mile. He did it at 14 to 1, and it seems like then, ever since then, people that missed the wedding have kind of been chasing the funeral. He's been bet down 3 of his last 4 races, and finished 2nd the last time out at Keeneland, 2nd in the Woodbine Mile. Modern Games and Annapolis are both going to be in the race. Ivar continues to take a lot of money. Good trainer, 6 for 14 wins lifetime, 1 for 4 at Keeneland, but he seems to get further away. He has run in the Breeders' Cup Mile back-to-back years, 2020 and 2021. This will be his 3rd time at getting that Breeders' Cup Mile victory. Now on the turf, going 1.5 miles, another 10 to 11 horse field, and featuring Botanic, Broom, who ran in the Breeders' Cup Turf last year. Highland Chief, I think we'll see him. He's kind of been in and out this year with some good races. Masterpiece from the West Coast, but you know, the West Coast horses really on the turf have not made an impact when they've shipped east at all this year. Mishriff, winless in 2022. Rebels Romance, the most likely favorite. Stone Age, Red Knight, Virginia Joy, and Warlike Goddess coming off a win against the boys. Warlike Goddess ran in the Breeders' Cup against the fillies and mares last year. This year going to take on the boys. Horses to watch in this race, some of my patterns. Look for fillies. They can win in this race. They fit well. So Warlike Goddess definitely has a good shot. 3-year-olds can beat older, especially if they're in good form. So don't be afraid of a 3-year-old taking on older horses. The pace has been slowing down in recent years. So what you got to look for there is the Euros tend to have an advantage in the deep full fields because then they can get their cover and turn it into a final quarter-mile kick. So the Euros like the full fields on the turf. Now Rebels Romance, 8 for 11 lifetime. Charlie Appleby trains. Godolphin Blue is the owner. This horse will be getting a lot of play, and he's got some grade 1 victories. He's got some class, got a high average winning distance, a great pedigree for 1.5 miles. Meanwhile, Mischief trying to get back on the winning edge. Some big races last year that would definitely put him in the edge, but he's 0 for 6 in 2022 so far. But he does have a couple of trip notes, especially a couple of races back when he ran against Luxembourg. He wasn't really pressed late in that race. I could see him really liking a little bit the quicker pace over here in America and the straight course. Also Masterpiece, again, the California horses not making an impact, but he has come in a couple of times at a price. He came in second at 22 to 1, and then a couple of races back, he won at 16 to 1. Definitely one to watch, especially at a price. Masterpiece. So when you take an overall look at this race, you know, the buyer speed figures so far going to be anywhere from about a 110 to 115. Highland Real a 112. Found got a 108, and then last year Ybir got a 105. Charlie Appleby, the trainer, he brings in Rebels Romance this year. Don't forget, on the channel this week we had a juvenile update, a classic update, a European update, and then yesterday we had a sprint and filly and mare sprint. Make sure to watch those videos as we continue to lead you up to the 2022 Breeders' Cup.